Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Jason, also known as Ominous Prime, and I'd like to wish you all a happy 4th of July. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and give a subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And today I'm going to be doing an update, not only to what's going on with the HasLab that's going on for the HISS tank for G.I. Joe Classifieds. It's the first one for G.I. Joe Classifieds. I'm also going to kind of tie in an update to the channel of what's going to be going on going forward here. This week I start a new job. Will still be putting videos out. They may not be, say, like every day, but there will still be videos that'll be coming out. The majority of them have been really about the different things that I collect. So what I plan to do is to migrate my video game programming that I have on here and move it to a secondary channel that's exclusive for that. And if you like all of the things I'm creating here and you don't want to miss out on either one, just be sure to subscribe to the second channel so you don't miss out. It seems to be the thing to do is to go ahead and click the bell. That's to make sure that you get alerts for when a new video does drop. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into why you're probably here, which is to see what's going on with the HISS tank HasLab. So what I'm seeing here is, just so you can kind of see what's going on between the two, this is part of the discussion as far as like HasLabs go. Star Wars has been out for quite a bit with their Black Series Reva, the third sister Force Effects Elite lightsaber, which they had priced at a very high $499.99. And initially, when they put this out, I didn't understand why they did this. And for those that are not familiar with what a HasLab is, it's a crowdfunding project that's done through Hasbro. They give you a time period of when you need to go ahead and place your order by. Like this one is showing it's got 7 days and 23 hours left. They need to have 5,000 at least before Hasbro will go ahead and produce this. What that basically means is once these are made, they only go to those that have backed this project. They won't make it again. And the reason why they won't do that is these are supposed to be kind of like a once in a lifetime kind of project that they're doing. For the lightsabers, we've gotten so many lightsabers, and so it was a head scratcher to me. This one in particular had made a lot of people upset. The reason being is the Black Series Rancor, the price on this was just kind of out there for what you were going to get. But I believe this one was for about $400. But these are the tiers they put out. They put a Gamorrean guard, bunch of like bones here. There was Salacious Crumb. Then they put in, which was weird because they started throwing figures in like after this, because this tier, the second tier, was the one where the fans that were backing it started to back off of this. You saw the numbers roll back away from funding this. And then we had Luke Skywalker from the Return of the Jedi. This is, kind of like breaking down what they had. The second tier was cardboard backing to make it look like it was in the Rancor pit over at Jabba's palace, and a bunch of bones to throw around here. It didn't seem like the HasLab team for Star Wars knew what to do with this project. It closed out without getting funded. And they were hoping that with the Rancor towards the end, for those that wanted to buy it, that they would do something that was done similar to Unicron. Now, Unicron here, this one got an extra 30 days to be funded. And this one was the first HasLab project that I looked at. I looked at the price. I talked with my wife, and she was like, it's up to you if you want to do that. And I was like, up to me? That means I probably shouldn't do this then. So initially I didn't get in on it. I didn't back it until they extended it for 30 days. And then my wife was like, you need to do this. I was like, are you sure? And she said, yes, you need to go ahead and get this for yourself. You're going to be upset later down the line when it comes out and you don't have this as part of your collection. and she knows how much I love Transformers. And my wife, encouraged me to get. I don't know if you can see him. This guy back here. I love that thing. I look at it like every day, and it's man, it's got a presence. And so once I got into funding Unicron, and I was excited. I know I had to wait, and that was like the hardest part was waiting for it. And then, you know, fortunately, what they did during this was they went ahead and included updates they were sending out to you throughout the production process. So you got videos, you got photos. They showed you when they were um, building the different parts, different tests, and then there was videos about the box and how big it was going to be, and the packaging that they were going to use to send out to make sure everything was fine. And going, watching that process get done, you get it home after waiting for I think it was about a year. I was very happy with it. I can put a review out for this if anybody's interested. Go through the transformation process. Just leave a comment down below and let me know if that's something that you're interested in. But this process here was a positive one for me. The price for these, if you were to try to get one in the secondary market, was anywhere from like $1,000 all the way up to $2,000, just like it happened with the sail barge that was for Star Wars. I did get Victory Saber, and it still says it's estimated to ship here in winter 2022. I didn't back the Ghostbusters Backpack. This was running at the same time as the Rancor, and there's 3 HasLabs going on at the same time. The Rancor was running along with the Proton Pack, and that's where people went. They went to the Proton Pack. They did not go for the Rancor. So people jumped on this one, and then Star Saber was one where people were like, I don't know if it's going to make it. But it did get funded. Once we get this in, I'll go ahead and do a review for that one so you can see, whether, if you have FOMO about, what it was and you ended up not funding it, maybe you can live vicariously through mine and enjoy it there. I also did back the Sky Striker. This one got me excited, but it sparked so much debate in the G.I. Joe groups that some people were very angry about this whole process. I had some of my happiest memories are with the Sky Striker. This was purchased by my dad. He got it for me for Christmas, and I was in Okinawa at the time, and he got this through Sears catalog. Mail order. G.I. Joe had just come out. Like, it wasn't on TV yet, so I didn't have any connection to like any characters, but I loved Tomcat. So that's all I saw was like this was an F-14 Tomcat. And I loved those because it had the ability to sweep the wings back and forth. So that was a cool feature to me. Otherwise, F-15 was like the other airplane, the SR-71 that I loved at that time, because we had those on the base that I was at with my dad and the rest of my family. And the reason, from what I can understand from the groups, that people are upset, we are used to go into Toys R Us and you would be able to buy these. But, we don't have stores like this anymore. For the most part, G.I. Joe collectors are cheap. We do not like to spend as a group, not on the individual. So if you're not one of those people, I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about as a whole. There are a number of us that will want to go ahead and get these large vehicles, but not spend the money to get them. So what we do is we wait for them to go on clearance, because then, we feel like we're getting a deal. Or we wait for them to go out to a closeout store, and then they get them really cheap. That's what a lot of G.I. Joe collectors have become accustomed to in their years of collecting. The problem is, and it's not Hasbro losing out, because Hasbro made the money by selling them in mass to these different stores that would carry them. So essentially, we killed the brand. Hasbro saw that the stores weren't purchasing the large orders anymore. They weren't going to put them out and didn't want them, because we as collectors didn't want to buy them. We wanted to get them really cheap. So HasLab comes around, right? This isn't the same thing that we had in the 80s. So it's different. So there's a number of collectors that were like, well, if I want to get the O-ring version, I want to get the original, mold for it. So it'll fit in with the rest of my collection, just something like that, and have it at a much cheaper price. And then we had, the stretch goals. And with the initial offering, I was on board, but it didn't get backed at that point. The tiers start to get announced. So the next one was to get Scarlet. This wasn't enough to get people to go ahead and go in on it, because there was so many of the 3 3/4 inch figure line fans that saw this HasLab as a negative thing. The second tier was to go ahead and get Ripcord, the third tier, and they've been affectionately named Ketchup and Mustard. The people that started to get on board with this wanted this because they could put them on their USS flag as the pit crew for that. But it still did not meet at that point. And they came up with redecos that you could do. So if it gets backed, successfully funded, you get the Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander, and you get a couple of different troops here from Cobra, one for like a flight crew. This got people excited, and it got backed. We didn't make it to this, and people got disappointed. They were upset. But people were trying to go ahead and get this funded as much as they could to show that we wanted to get the 3 3/4. This was the kickoff for the retro line that they started to put out. And I put out a couple of videos for the ones that have come out so far for the O-ring figures. And this was supposed to be a celebration for it. It's the 40th anniversary. But you can see we made it to here. And we were surprised because this was down to the wire on the day of. For those of us, that are excited about it, we want to see it get funded. And then you have the other half of people thinking that if they tank it and don't have it backed, that this would mean that, for some reason the fans have proven that G.I. Joe shouldn't be in HasLabs and that it should be manufactured and sent to store shelves. So this one, I don't know, it's a bit weird because they did it this way, which essentially means that this will not be released at retail. Otherwise, what this will do is undermine the whole HasLab system. And that's why when people say, well, I'll hold out and not, stick to my guns, not get it, and hope that they'll release one at retail. Once they do it, the first time they do it, any HasLab project that comes up afterwards is going to probably be doomed to fail. For the Hiss tank, and I know you guys have been waiting for this, so I'm sorry about the delay on it, but effectively what people are hoping is with the Hiss tank, once it gets released, hopefully they'll make another one in this scale. Maybe the treads don't work. Maybe there's no lights in it. Maybe it doesn't have the swappable parts. Just a bare bones one where it's just a hollow piece of plastic, 2 wheels that are on the bottom so you can roll it around on the carpet or on the kitchen floor. And they would be fine with it as long as it's in 6-inch scale. And I believe most people would probably be happy with it being less than $100. And they want to see that on store shelves, walk in, grab it, and go home. But that's not the world we live in. And for a couple of years, we weren't really going into stores because we didn't want to get sick. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. We already made it past the initial goal. Here we go. Here are the different colors that are going to be available that we'll be able to vote on. And put in the comments below what you think the one that you would want to go for, whether you're backing, the HasLab or not. Which one would you like to see made? I kind of like the blue. The reason being is all the other Cobra Troopers are like blue, so it would kind of fit in, but it doesn't really fit. But I think, as a tactician, it should be purple. And I kind of like the colors here. It's a little bit more muted, but I'm kind of digging this one. This one kind of like, I wouldn't be mad if I got this one, but out of the options here, I would look at the blue or the purple. Although this one has all my favorite colors on it. These three, I'm not a fan of. It's too close to Snake Eyes looking. We got 12,930. So we did meet the first tier, and that was the missiles, these right here. You know, a lot of people weren't happy with this. They didn't get people jazzed. You know, people were like, I want another figure, or I want another vehicle, which baffles me. And the reason why it baffles me is this is a HISS tank, right? So the additions to the tier should have something to do with the HISS tank. You know, if they had a figure, you know, that's specific to the HISS tank, you know, it makes sense. They see this because the HISS tank, when initially shown, has this cap here, right? And they're like, well, obviously the missile rack were intended to be included on here from the jump, so it should have already been packaged in with it. So I can understand that argument, given that with the Sky Striker that I showed you earlier, came with a whole slew of different things that you could connect to it, including a stand, which for Jet, you know, if it didn't come with a stand to begin with, and that was a stretch goal, you know, to get to a tier so you can get a stand, I don't think people would have been excited about that. So I thought it was a smart decision to include it originally with the initial offering. So if the initial offering included the missiles, you know, I guess I can understand why people, you know, are upset not getting that. But they did include the tactician as an option as long as it got filled by backers, you know, a week from the announcement, which it took less than 24 hours to do. And because we did that, we got this unlocked. And then the second tier was announced at 1,200 backers. So we have this unlocked. So people weren't excited about it because they're, again, going, well, why wasn't this included originally? Because it's part of the HISS tank, you know, to add these on to make it look more classic. And to that, I'm like, I'm not excited about this either. But there's a lot of things being asked for that don't necessarily have anything to do with the HISS tank. Which brings me to the third tier. The third tier got announced, and people are excited for this one from what I've seen. Okay, so it says, astonishing. No matter what I offer, you just want more. Cobra Commander, you say. Sure, my HISS vehicle has enough firepower to bring cowardly G.I. Joe to their knees, but can it make them vanish entirely? Oh, that I say, of course it can. If our HasLab project reaches 14,000 backers, you'll unlock classified upgrade number 3, the weapons accessory pack, and the HISS Gunner action figure. You'll get HISS interrogator cannon accessories, which attach under the nose of the cockpit, and 2 Hissruptor ZX5 blaster accessories that attach to either side of the HISS turret. A weapon is nothing without someone to wield it. Pose your HISS gunner figure at the controls of their articulated turret or wielding their weapon accessories. Adding a gunner figure gives you a full complement of troops to staff your HISS vehicle and offers even more ways to display your HISS fleet. How can you argue with an unbelievable deal like that? Now remember, keep backing the classified series HISS before the campaign ends. Until next time. Man, I couldn't. So the HISS gunner, right? This action figure, we have a lady HISS gunner or a lady trooper here for Cobra, which has got a lot of people excited because we haven't had any. And she comes with a spade, some kind of hammer, and sidearm, and I believe this is like the same 2 guns that the HISS tank driver and the tactician will come with. So this now includes 3 figures. And going by, and these are going to be in their own individual boxes, separate from the HISS tank. There will be in numbered boxes, so these 3 figures now are not available unless you get them through the HasLab project. And that's one thing that's been made clear, is if they have a figure that's released as part of this project or in prior projects, they will not release them separately because it undermines the HasLab projects. So this is the only way to get this. So that means if you want to get these 3 figures and you want to, you know, troop build them, you would have to buy multiples, of course, of the HISS tank. That's one of the things that I like, that it's including these figures, but it also kind of creates that conundrum of, do I want more figures released in this way? Because if, let's say I wasn't interested in this, but I'm only collecting figures, now I don't have access to these figures to complete my set. if I was collecting every single figure that was in G.I. Joe Classifieds. That's not me. I'm not collecting every single character because there's some repaints and some of them I can just, skip out on. I'm cool without it. I think it's a cool figure. They'll have this mold here so they can do different things with it. So it's not the same character. Hopefully that happens. They'll have like a different head and retooling done so that they can use this mold in different ways to go ahead and have additional figures out. But the other cool thing is like these two guns here. They go on the turret. So right here, these two ports, people have pointed out initially when they were showing the HISS tank that what are those for? We're going to get these, one to put on each side. And then we have this chin gun that's going to go, it'll be placed under here, so you'll have a couple cannons. And here's a closer look at the gunner. And I think she looks cool. And I believe these weapons are designed so that they'll fit inside the HISS tank in the cargo area where they have the seated position. But you see through this digital rendering that this is how it would fly. I don't know if the light would be disturbed by the gun barrels, possibly blocking it, but it doesn't look like that's the case here in this picture. But you can see there's quite a bunch of guns here. So I think it's a cool design. I do like that it's included. And for the people that are arguing that these things should have been included originally, keep in mind, this didn't cause the price of the HasLab to go up. These are bonuses that are included for more people getting involved. With a HasLab, you're having a limited run. So you're not producing 100,000 of a set, which would drive down the cost. This HISS tank, just seeing Lenny's a big dude, and seeing him handling that and how much it was like half of his torso. There's no way. There's no way that you would be able to go ahead and pick that up on the store shelves. And if they mass produced it, you would probably get shipments of like 2, maybe 3 in a box. So they would have, maybe 1 on the shelf, maybe 2 on the shelf, and it takes up more space. So that means that there's less things that they can put on the shelf to sell at the different stores. Like if Target were to include it or Walmart, that means that they'd have to give up space for another product. With that being said, if they were to mass produce this, they just don't have any retailers that are going to be able to buy this in bulk to have this on hand readily so that you can just walk in and get it. Toys R Us as it existed is gone. Stores don't carry them because they don't sell. It's just the reality of how business is being conducted nowadays. That's the situation that we're in. I live in the real world, so by the time, August 15th comes around, that'll be the last opportunity for you to get in on this without having to worry about what the secondary market's going to charge for it. There's actually already been some people posting on eBay that they're selling these for $600 because there's going to be a number of people that sit on the fence, don't jump in on this, or they didn't know about it and they just got back into G.I. Joe collecting. Yeah, for those of you that are like, it's just a HISS tank. I've seen HISS tanks over and over and over throughout the years. You haven't seen this one. Not at this scale. Not the way that this one appears to be built. I feel it's a HasLab quality product. I could see other vehicles hitting retail, probably at the price point at about $50 for them for a 6-inch scale. That's not a motorcycle, not another motorcycle. But I'm getting a little off track here. Sorry about that. You're probably watching this video. If you made it this far, you're probably like, man, he's gone all over the place. Keep in mind, when I release this, it's been edited down. So I appreciate each and every one of you that have watched this far into the video. The point of the video is just to kind of give you an update of what's going on with the HasLab, what my thoughts are. And I wanted to see what you all thought about this. What do you think of this process? Am I out of my mind for, backing these projects? I don't know. It's the way I look at it is if you're looking at it and you're going $299.99 is too expensive. It'll be too expensive when it's $600 and plus, because these things tend to double because there's limited quantity out there. And I'm not trying to scare tactic anybody into getting this. I don't work for Hasbro. I don't get anything out of this. As a collector, someone who loves and appreciates you know, these different things from my childhood, which reminds me of, even though I grew up in the Cold War, I wasn't an adult at the time, so, but it reminds me of fun times, and I guess it's kind of like comfort food for an adult who still has toys. Maybe adults are a made up thing. If you lasted this long, you should definitely subscribe to my channel. I've noticed that a lot of my videos are starting to get more views, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate it more if you subscribe. It really helps me out. It doesn't cost you anything. And I'm still trying to drive towards that 1K of subscribers. I want to hit that milestone. And in video games, remember, I'm going to be moving that to a second channel. Once that happens, I'll make an announcement and make sure you're aware. All right. I appreciate you coming here and taking a look at this video. And I hope you have a good day or night, and happy 4th of July.